Hello, fellow fantasy sports fans. We are here on MFSN The Hub, and it is time for baseball's waiver wire. It's Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern. I almost said 3 p.m. Pacific. I'm out of it today for some reason, but 4 p.m. Pacific. That's right. Same time all the time. And if you haven't already, click subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, hit like if you like what you're hearing, and put your comments below. And Ross or I will argue with you. Casey won't because he's not here again. You know what? That leads us into injuries. We're going to pretend that Casey's injured, and that's why he's not here. You saw, if you saw our cover, you saw Bryce Harper looking like he's from Frankenstein. There's a lot of injuries going on. Ross the boss, tell us.
It's unbelievable with the injuries. I mean, it's like every day there's like two or three guys like Tatis hurt his oblique, and if it's really hurt, he's out for a couple of weeks. If oblique is a serious situation.
Oblique is usually
oblique
6
is
weeks.
like your whole muscle will swing. So, and then we got a player that beat up his wife, and he probably won't play the rest of the year.
That's right. And that's not an injury. I mean, obviously it's an injury.
It's not an injury, but it's just like all this stuff is going on. It's just like every day there's another injury of a major player or somebody gets in trouble like an idiot. So that all being said, you got to watch our show so you know who to pick up because a lot of stuff going on and you're not going to have a full roster.
Yeah, listen, I've been working my way through the Mike Trout injury.
Luis
Robert, you saw what I did with him. I mean, I probably held Luis Robert too long. I should have dealt him sooner. You know, when a guy's out for that long, even in a keeper league, you got to get value for him somehow.
Yeah, it's tough to get value when guys are injured for 3 months. 2 weeks, I understand, but 3 months.
Only in a keeper league. You can't get any value.
Dynasty league, you're 100% right. I'm not disagreeing with you. But, the reason you watch our show is not because I'm so good looking or because you're so good looking. Not really.
No, that's just an added perk.
Oh, yeah. But you want the information that can help you win your league so you know who to go out and get.
That's right. So let's get to it. We're going to talk about catchers. Now, remember, it's Yahoo 60% and under. And I want to know what catchers are out there. Catcher is often a barren wasteland. In fact, if you look at the top 10 catchers that are over 60% owned, after that, there's a huge drop off. It's pretty remarkable. You go from 65% owned, and that's Gary Sanchez, who batting 202. That's a pretty good
batting
season.
202, and people are. I mean, he's striking out more. He has more strikeouts than hits.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah. Well, that's not even close.
Really having a horrible year, and another guy that's not having a good year either, who's 75%, is Christian Vasquez of the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah.
I mean, I have him in another league. I actually just waived him because I have JT as my catcher, and I just had him as like a backup guy, but I just waived him because he's not hitting.
Yeah, but listen, Vasquez is gold compared to what else is out there. Let's talk about what's actually out there.
Okay, well, we'll talk about what's out there. But Vasquez, 253 home runs. It's not gold, but we'll say it's adequate.
It's okay. It's fantasy bronze. It's worth something. Okay,
it's worth something. But now, we could talk about catchers. Go ahead.
All right, you give me a name now.
So I'm going to give the same name I gave last week. I'll give this week just because he's still like under 60%, and it's Mitch Garver. He's in the past week. He's hitting 322 home runs. I mean, he's having a great week. The past week has been unbelievable for him, and there's no one that's hitting better than him as a catcher right now in performances. So if I had to pick up a catcher that could be available in your league, Mitch Garver's my man.
Okay, but I'm going to say a name we haven't said before.
Okay,
and it is Baltimore catcher Adley Rutschman. Adley Rutschman, do you know him? 11% owned.
Go ahead.
He's a good prospect. He's going to get called up soon. He's got a great name, Adley Rutschman. And look, the guys out there they're not spectacular. You might as well take a chance on.
So when's he coming up? When's he coming? I've been waiting for a lot of these, like Franco supposed to come up. Wonder Franco supposed to come up. He hasn't came up yet. When's this great catcher coming up for Baltimore?
Listen, I think he'll be up sometime this month. I think you got to scoop him up now.
That's not bad. I can wait 4 weeks. It's before All-Star break. I'm fine doing that.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't own Adley Rutschman if I thought, he might get called up in late August. That's just not worth it to you.
So you think the end of June he'll be called up?
That is what I think. Don't quote me on it, but if he does, remember I said it. That's the setup.
I will pick him up in a couple leagues. I got some roster spots available. The only other catcher I have, and this guy we talked about before, and he's actually eligible as a catcher, He's second base, shortstop, third base, first base. He plays every position except pitcher. It's I've never seen a player like this in my life. It's Kyle Farmer. He had 5 RBIs last week in one game against the Cubs. He was unbelievable. And I know he's only hitting 220. I know he's only hitting 220, but you know what? For him to be
fine.
A catcher, and he's hitting a lot better the past couple of weeks. He's hitting over 300 right now in the past couple of weeks with a few home runs and everything. So Kyle Farmer could be like a sneaky guy who started catcher, and he probably play catcher once the whole year.
We also did an interview with Scott Heineman where we got to call Kyle Farmer. He didn't answer the phone though. I don't know what he's very his multi eligibility. That means he can be on the phone or not.
Yeah, but it's kind of a fun guy to pick up just because he'll probably play catcher maybe once in an emergency situation the whole year, but he was brought up in the minors as a catcher, and Scott actually had a great story about him when he was catcher, and Scott actually got a little altercation with him when they were on different teams. It's a great story. You should watch the interview actually.
Watch the interview. Now. Okay, but you make a good point. If there's a guy who has catcher eligibility but doesn't actually play catcher, that's great. And I've talked about Williams Astudillo. I think he's still a pretty solid guy to have, but he's only playing part-time, and his average is not spectacular, but it's better than a lot of the other players.
But Kyle Farmer available in 93% of the leagues, and he plays every day.
Okay, let's move to first base. Ross, I'm going to let you go because Casey doesn't get to go if he's not going to show up for the show.
So first base, I actually have somebody I never ever talked about before, and I want to ask you about him real quick. The first guy I'm going to talk about is Pavin Smith. Pavin Smith, we talked about him, plays Arizona. Christian Walker lost his job to him. Pavin Smith in the past 2 weeks is hitting 380, 2 home runs, 9 RBIs, and that's in the past 2 weeks alone. He's one of my gold pickups for the week. If you need a first baseman or even utility guy, pick him up now. He's just getting better and better.
I agree. He was my number 1 first base pickup, by the way, Ross.
Oh, he was? Okay.
I own him in both of our leagues, so I picked him up a couple weeks back.
The other guy I have plays for the Cubs, and he's getting a lot of press. And people are talking about, we should do a show about exit velocity, because people are just love this whole theory of how fast the ball goes off the bat. And I just don't understand why it's such a huge deal, but I guess people like it. But his exit velocity average is 102 miles an hour. That's how fast the ball goes when he hits it. And his name's Patrick Wisdom. He's 29 years old. He's from the St. Louis Cardinals farm system. Now he plays for the Cubs. He's playing third base now because Anthony Rizzo is back. Rizzo's back. But this guy's hitting over 400 in the past 2 weeks. He's just home runs he has home runs. He has RBIs. They can't sit him. The Cubs can't sit Patrick Wisdom. So he's a streaker. He could be a streaker. I don't know if he'll keep doing what he's doing, but doesn't matter. You pick him up now, keep him in your lineup for a few weeks and see what happens. But Patrick Wisdom is my other gold pickup for the week.
For those of you who are new to the show, Ross does know what a streaker is. We call streamers streakers on this show because that's what happened, and that's just what we call it. So, yeah, Patrick Wisdom, they can't sit him. And meanwhile, if we did a show on exit velocity, we should also measure the exit velocity of the audience, because I think
But remember, Patrick Wisdom, he's playing third base today, and he plays different positions. So right now he's just eligible at first base, but I think Yahoo's going to make him a third baseman also. Just be aware of that.
Yep. Now let me ask you this: What would you do with Dominic Smith? We were a lot of people were high on him. I actually wasn't.
I was high on him too, and he'll probably be a guest on our show eventually too, coming up in the next few weeks. He's just started off very slow. If you can stash him and not play him, I would suggest that.
I agree.
But if you're low on roster spots, there's better guys out there, guys. I'm sorry. I'd like Dominic Smith, but I mean, the season right now, it's like a quarter over, so you got to think quick.
I'd scoop him up. By the way, the season is a third over. It's even further.
Okay, I'm trying to be an optimist, but go on.
All right. Yeah, we're gonna be optimistic. You can't be optimistic with math. Okay.
Okay, fine.
Now, but the thing about Dominic Smith that I actually think is going to help him is Francisco Lindor is starting to hit, thankfully.
Well, I mean, there's no way to go lower than he's going. So The only thing he can do is start hitting. I mean, they're paying him millions of dollars to hit the ball. So hit the ball, Francisco.
Yep. And, another guy that I like to take a chance on is Ryan Mountcastle. These young guys could figure it out.
Mountcastle, the Orioles have huge expectations for him, and he hasn't came up with it yet, but there's something there, and it's not a bad idea to pick him up. You're 100% right.
I think this is the time where you see, does one of these guys, young guys, catch fire? You don't pick up like Evan Longoria hoping that he's going to become a superstar again. Like, that's not going to happen. But Mountcastle could really explode. All right, let's do second base.
Wait, there's a couple other guys. I just want to give some updates. Joey Votto, he's playing AAA right now. He's coming back from his injury. He should be back by the end of the week. I don't know if you guys remember, before he got hurt, he was on a hot streak. So Joey Votto could be a good little pickup for you, especially if the Reds are at home. When the Reds are at home, I was at the game earlier in May when he had his 300th home run, and he loves hitting in that ballpark. So Joey Votto will be back. And the other one I like, we call him Gary Cooper, but it's Garrett Cooper. In the past 2 weeks, he's hitting .436. He has 3 home runs, 9 RBIs in the past 2 weeks. Garrett Cooper for the Miami Marlins is just destroying the ball. And you got the first baseman this week is the strongest position.
Not only is it the strongest position, but actually, if you look at the Yahoo list and you go down percentage owned, do you know how far you have to go to get to 60% and under? There are actually 31 first basemen that are 60% and over.
Wow.
In our in a 12-team league, most people have not only 2 but even 3, and that's
it's incredible. And
it's crazy.
If you have a first baseman that's not hitting the ball right now and he's not performing, I would either bench him and pick up one of the guys we just mentioned.
And I think Pavin Smith is the guy. I'm with you all the way on that. Okay, second base, Ross. Who do you got?
I like Colton Wong has been killing the ball. I mean, the past 2 weeks he's hitting .340, 2 home runs and a stolen base. He is my number 1 pickup at second base right now for his bat. His defense is pretty good too, but he's been playing great. And if I need a second baseman that's under 60%, Colton Wong is my first pick I would pick up right now.
Listen, I can't even fault you for it, and that's saying a lot because I was very high on Colton Wong when he first came up, but he just never seemed to pan out. Maybe he's figuring it out in some way. I mean, he's not a bad pickup. I would rather pick up, though, Dylan Moore. We talked about this last week.
No, he's hurt. When is he coming back? He's on the IL.
No, he's coming back soon, though.
Oh, he's coming back soon. Okay. Because I liked him, too, but I saw him on the IL, and it scares me. I mean, I'm thinking of players I can pick up today and I can start tomorrow. So I like Dylan Moore a lot, but he's just not playing.
You're not going to see him probably till mid-June, but he's starting to actually begin baseball activities. And the thing about Dylan Moore is he steals bases. There's just not that many guys out there who can help him.
No, you're 100% right.
So I see you grab him. And Jonathan Villar is another guy that you could scoop up. I like Moore a lot more than Villar because of playing time.
Now, you mentioned the word scoop. I want to mention Jonathan Scoop for the Detroit Tigers. The past 2 weeks, he's hitting .340, 4 home runs. He has like 9 RBIs. He's been killing the ball for Detroit, and that's an easy ballpark to hit home runs in. So Jonathan Scoop, if you need a second baseman, it's another guy. It's a streaker. I wouldn't pick him up and say, okay, I can relax and not worry about second base this year. No, it's a guy that you pick up now. You keep him for maybe 10 days and see what he's doing. But he's a streaker and he's killing the ball right now. So Jonathan Scoop for me is a great pickup.
I never relax with a male streaker. That's not what I like to do. Now let me ask you: is he actually named Scoop? I'm not making fun of you for mispronunciations. Is it Scoop or Shoop?
Schoop. How do you say it?
No, Schoop.
Scoop. I might have called him Scoop. I'm not.
It might
sure.
be pronounced Scoop. You know what's funny? I play fantasy sports in such a way that I often don't even watch some of the games. I'm just watching the numbers.
I believe it's Scoop. He's been around in the league for a while. He played for the Orioles in the past. I remember.
I'm with you. I'm with you. Here's another guy that you could pick up at second base who has some good value is Jed Lowry. He's not the best, but he's solid.
Yeah.
And he also, speaking of being a streaker, that guy can go on some serious streaks. And I just think Oakland knows what they're doing. So
I'm wearing the Oakland A's shirt because he just said that. See.
No, I'll give you one more, and then we're going to move on to third base. Nice, you wore the Oakland A's shirt. Did you put that on mid-show when I mentioned that?
Yes. I was without a shirt on, and I put this on because as soon as you mentioned Lowry, I wanted to show some pride and put the A's shirt on. Yes,
I appreciate that.
I had it on the whole time.
Wait, you know who else we need to mention at second base?
Who?
Vidal Brujan.
Vidal Brujan.
Vidal Brujan, he sounds like a hair product.
He sounds like a bad guy in the James Bond movie.
Yes, a bad guy in the James Bond movie who has a hair product. He's a hairdresser in a James Bond movie.
He's a hairdresser in the day. He's a bad guy at night. Vidal Brujan.
Tampa Bay, second baseman. They're loaded at those positions, but we know
like Joey Whittle. They have so many guys at like midfielders. It's unbelievable. They have guys in the minors that are ready to go too.
This guy's killing the ball, and I could see Tampa Bay doing one of two things with this. They could trade somebody to bring him up, or they could trade him for some big time, pitcher or something to make a run in the playoffs.
Might as well
scoop him up. Scoop him up. He's going to be up soon.
They have a $67 million salary right now. They're paying their players, and somehow they figure a way to make the playoffs every year. I mean, whoever's running that team's a genius.
They remind me of my Cleveland Indians, and our payroll is even lower. But it shouldn't be that low. That's not fair to the fans. Come on. All right, now we're going to move to third base. Ross, you can go first. Now, this is not 60% and under, but I have to do an Ian Happ check. How's he doing?
I didn't check him on today. I gave you the week of. I gave you the week off.
I'm going to pull up some Ian Happ stats.
But you can do that. So I mentioned this guy before, and I always want to get off the bandwagon. I'm like saying, okay, this is it. He's not going to be.
Don't say Hunter Dozier.
No, Hunter Dozier was a horrible mistake. I admit my wrong. Trust me. He's somebody you don't want on your team. But Evan Ligoria, you brought his name up earlier, is one of these guys that, okay, his career's over. He's going to retire this next year. Great career, good job, well done, whatever. But he is hitting, in the past 2 weeks, he's hitting 390, 4 home runs, 11 RBIs. And that's the past 2 weeks. And he's a streaker. So if you need a third baseman that has power, that has RBIs, that has average, I don't know if you can do any better than Evan Ligoria, even over 60%.
Well, and let's say something about this. San Francisco brought the fences in. So when I was first evaluating Brendan Crawford, I was thinking, this guy's not going to keep doing this. But the fact is, he really could, because the fences have been brought in. I think Evan Longoria is benefiting from that too.
It's unbelievable. I mean, the guy's been rejuvenated, and the guy's like a new player. I mean, if I had to pick like the worst hitting third baseman in the National League, Longoria would make that list.
Yep, but not anymore. Now listen, I checked Ian Happ, and I have great news. He sucks.
Oh, he's bad. So, yes. Case of Scheinfeld, flat to the bone.
In the last week, he has 4 hits in the last 11 games.
Wow.
He's 3 for 24 in the last week with 1 run and 3 RBIs. He's batting 125. But in the last 14 days, he's a little bit better. He is batting 213 with 5 runs, 2 homers, and 7 RBIs. Ian Happ is never going to be good. I'm going to stick to it. I'm going to keep on this.
We'll check next week on Ian Happ. Come on, Ian. Pick it up.
Okay. So let's get to third base. You said Longoria already.
Yeah.
I want you to give me one more while I get my screen ready.
So the other guy, he plays third, he plays second, he plays short, I think, too, is David Fletcher. We call him Fletch here in Los Angeles. That's what the announcer calls him, is Fletch. I know he's not that flashy. There's really nobody else at third base that I loved. Fletcher's been hitting the past 2 weeks. He's been hitting over 300. He's nuts. I know he doesn't have any home runs. I don't want to hear it from your mouth. So, he has no power. I get that. What I'm saying is he's a contact hitter. He's been getting on base, and he's been scoring runs. And the Angels have been scoring runs. And the Fletcher's, again, if you need Fletcher on your team, there's something wrong with your team anyway. But the only pickup at third base, I would say, is Evan Ligoria. I really don't have anybody else at third base.
Well,
unless I mean, maybe the only one I like, and I had him at second, but I didn't bring him up, was Ty France.
Yeah.
And do you remember Chevy Chase's character's name in Caddyshack? What was his first name?
I actually don't remember that.
It was Ty. It was Ty.
Was it Ty?
It was Ty. Yeah, it was a little quiz question here. You learn so much information on the show. It's unbelievable. But David Fletcher, I like that. Just call him Fletch. Again, he's hitting in the past 2 weeks. He's been hitting a lot better, and those pickings are slim at third base. The weakest position this week, I think, is third base.
You managed to bring up Fletch and Caddyshack in like 2 sentences.
I try to make it. I try to make some. I try to have fun on the show. As you know, I am Ross the Boss. I try to little trivia every time you watch.
Okay, now listen. If you wanted to have a player like Mitch Garver at third base, have I got the player for you? Because Kyle Seager is going to hit 220. He's going to put up a lot of power. Listen, he's kind of like the David Fletcher on the other side. he's not going to make contact, but when he does, it's going to be huge.
Yep.
So it depends on what you need. If you need power and your batting average is terrible anyway, go ahead and pick up Kyle Seager. If you need average and your power is pretty good, but you need runs, you can pick up David Fletcher. I'm not going to tell you to do it. That was Ross's call. I never liked David Fletcher that much, but as a player, he's fine.
We call him Fletch. Don't call him David Fletch. Call him Fletch.
Fletch. I'm sorry. Or can we call him Ty, since that's the same
Ty
person?
Is Ty France. No.
I know, Ty France. Jeimer Candelario is another guy that I would just mention.
That's fine. He's been slowing down a lot. I've been looking at his stats, but it's fine.
But we're a third of the season through, and he's got 27 runs, and he's batting 279.
He's fine.
That's not bad.
No, but again, Evan Ligoria is the guy you want to pick up.
Okay, now we're going to go to shortstop. And this time, Ross, I hope you don't mind, but I've let you go first
You go first because I have a feeling that who you're going to pick, and he's from your hometown. Am I right?
You are not right. However, I'm interested in talking about that, and I know who you're talking about.
I hope so.
Wander Franco is still only 56% owned. What?
I know, but when is he? No, seriousness. When is this man going to be brought up to Major League Baseball?
Well, listen,
they brought up this other guy first, and now he had 4 hits yesterday. Franco, I read that in the baseball news that he was 4 for 5 in the minors. Wander Franco, unbelievable day.
Listen, we just got past the arbitration clock.
I know, but I mean, how much long? I mean, you're just waving the carrot in front of me, but when is this guy going to be brought up? It's so much pressure.
Hey, do you want to revisit our Carlos Correa for?
No, I don't need a shortstop. Look at my short. No,
I want to revisit it just so you can say that it was not laughable. Because look at what Correa is doing.
I'm not disagreeing. It's just when is this Wander Franco coming up? What is?
I think he'll be up in a month. But
we'll see. I hope you're right. I want to see this kid play. I'm excited.
Okay. Now who do you got?
So you know what I'm saying. I'm saying Ahmed Rosario. The past 2 weeks, he's hitting 350. It's not bad. He has 3 stolen bases. That's 3 stolen bases in 2 weeks. That's not bad, right?
And he's got 5 on the year, and he hadn't been playing.
I know he only has 1 home run, but the past 2 weeks,
3 home runs. 3?
Oh, 3 home runs. No, but the past 2 weeks, he has 3 home runs?
Oh, no. Past 2 weeks, 1.
Past 2 weeks, only has 1 home run. But 3 home runs for the year. And he is hitting 350. I like players that are hitting for average on their hot streak. And he doesn't really strike out that much either. So Ahmed Rosario, he's an Indian. I'm sure you're happy I mentioned Indian. I don't mention that many Indians on the show.
No, you don't. Soon you won't mention any because they'll have a different name.
How dare you?
How dare I, sir?
He is playing great. And if you need a shortstop that's hitting the ball, getting on base and scoring runs, he's your man.
And you know what? People thought Andres Gimenez was going to steal a lot of at-bats from him, but he's not playing well. And actually, I think he got demoted. So
you're 100% right.
There you go. Now, Miguel Rojas, what's his injury status?
I saw that.
Small fracture in his left finger.
I like Rojas. I think he's out for 2 weeks.
He's going to miss about 2 weeks, probably 3, I would guess.
Yeah, he's about 2 weeks.
You could do worse than stashing him. I mean, he's a run-scoring guy, and he also steals some bases. He's got some really good stats.
I like him. I like him. It just depends who else is available. But if you have the roster space, some leagues have huge rosters. I mean, you can, like our league that we're in together, our rosters are pretty big because we can stash players we wanted to, just on IL either or different ways. It's great.
Now, just so that the viewers aren't confused, Ross and I are in 2 different leagues together.
That's true.
I don't know. Maybe you have another.
We're in a keeper league and we're in a redraft league.
Yep, and I don't know. Maybe you are cheating on me in some other league, but I don't think so.
I'm in a lot of leagues. Yes.
Okay, so now let's talk about we're gonna take a break from the waiver wire.
So there's one more shortstop.
Oh no, we're not.
Willy Adams, who just traded from Tampa Bay to Milwaukee. If you need a shortstop, he's a long-term guy. I mean, right now he's hitting like 268, couple home runs, but I feel down the road he's going to get hot and he's going to start hitting the ball like crazy in the summer. And if you need a shortstop long-term, he's not a streaker. This guy's a long-term guy. He's going to be playing shortstop for them for a long time.
Willy Adams?
Yep.
Where did he get traded to?
Milwaukee.
Okay, see, that to me sounds like Wander Franco's coming up. They're moving guys.
Well, no, they did that, but they brought up another shortstop that's in their whole system.
He's not going to last. But meanwhile, we've got Tony Todd joining us. Tony Todd says, "What's up, fellas?" And I know if I asked Tony what was up, what he would say, and I'm not allowed.
Tony's actually in Colorado. He went to the Colorado Rockies game yesterday. The game went to extra innings. He stayed for the whole game, which Ross the boss wouldn't. He'd be leaving to hit the bars. But he's in Colorado. He's never been to that stadium. He's having a great time. He's going today to the game. And he's actually going to go up to some players and try to get us some guests for the show, too. So we'll see what happens.
Nice. Well, listen, Tony, if you want to come on the show and talk to us, it's www.callmfsn.com. But if you'd rather just talk to us when we're on a show together, that's also fine. And I'm sure you'll do that. Okay, now we're going to do a little short segment called Duds to Studs. These are people who were terrible last year who are completely tearing it up this year as hitters or dominating as pitchers. We're just going to cover a couple. Ross, who are some of the ones that you want to highlight?
I mean, Jesse Winker, he's my National League MVP. He's contending for a Triple Crown. He has like 13 home runs, sitting like 360. He has a bunch of RBIs, and he's scoring runs for your Cincinnati Reds. He was not the player like this last year. He was hurt. No. He was platooning in and out of there. But Jesse Winker is the number one dud to stud for me.
I think it's a great pick. Listen, every time I keep trying to offer trades, and I don't even press send because I know they're unreasonable. I'm like, because I don't trust Jesse Winker that much, but I'm like, I can't ask that. That's absurd. And that shows you he's really he
people are getting sold on him. I would press the send button, see what happens.
I am ready. I'm sold on him. He's the real deal. Here's another guy, Nick Castellanos. Another
red. I love you for that. Keep going.
Nick Castellanos. I mean, the guy is hitting 361. In this era, to hit 361 is insane. And he's putting up monster numbers. Now,
you want to hear something funny about Nick? I tweeted about him a couple days ago, and his wife, Michelle, commented on my Twitter that she liked, and she said some kind words about me on Twitter, which is nice to hear.
Oh, that's good. I thought you were going to say that she said some bad words about Nick. No, I was like, that's not cool.
That'd be funny, but no. But Nick, they're contending for both those guys are like neck and neck for the batting average crown. So we'll see what happens.
But I have to give it to you. I think Jesse Winker is the answer of actual duds to studs, because he didn't look like he was ever really going to emerge, and now he has. Now I'm going to give you another nomination who I don't think is as good as Jesse Winker from dud to stud standpoint, but Shohei Ohtani, the batter.
Woo! It's a great one.
The guy, he's the 10th ranked Yahoo player. He's only a utility player, so you could get him, pretty deep in a draft. And he has 35 runs, 15 homers, 40 RBIs, 7 stolen bases, and 263 average. Let me break this down for you. We are a third of the way through the season. If these numbers continue, he will have 105 runs scored, 45 homers, 120 RBIs, 21 steals, and a 263 average, of course.
And doesn't he pitch too for the Los Angeles Angels?
And he pitches well.
And his ERA is like under 3. I mean, he's like unbelievable. This guy, he's the real deal. And even Mike Trout said like he should be the MVP, not me. I mean, this guy does everything except sells hot dogs and beer. He should be doing that when he's not playing.
I think we've got the 2 MVPs, Ohtani and Winker. Those are the 2 MVPs. All right, I'm gonna say one more name in here, and this is
I'll say a couple just for fun, but keep going.
I'll say one more, and then you say a couple. This is a guy who's been good before, but he has been bad for a while. So he has been dud status for a while. Mitch Haniger.
Oh, that's a good one.
He's been the real deal. I mean, 37 runs, 14 homers, 36 RBIs, 264 average, and 0 steals. Okay, fine. 0 steals. But still, he's been a beast. Okay, Ross, who else do you have?
I'm going to say the name's Trey Mancini. He has like 14 home runs, 284, 44 RBIs right now in the season. And again, if we times that by 3, like you said, I mean, you were talking about 100 huge stats. Yep. I don't know if he'll keep it up. But Trey Mancini, he was the guy that was in my league that was always available last year, all the time. But now he's like not available in any leagues. He's unbelievable.
He's been available for years. And
I'm going to say an ex-Indian who plays for my Cincinnati Reds now that you actually picked up. You actually picked this guy up, which I love. Yep. Tyler Naquin. He's hitting like he has 11 home runs. He has 30 something RBIs. He's hitting. I know he's only hitting 250, But Taylor Naquin, if he's a stud right now. He's hitting the ball unbelievable.
Definitely worth owning. I have him in both of our leagues.
I know you do. And the last one is, I can't say his first name. It's Garcia.
I could tell. Adolis Garcia?
Adolis Garcia. 285, 16 home runs, 6 stolen bases, 41 RBIs.
I wanted to send a trade to you, but I was certain you would laugh.
He's for sure the most improved player. And just remember what happens in Texas when it gets hot. The ball goes flying out of that place.
I think
like
Adolis
crazy.
Garcia thought it was June in April.
Well, when it's 100 degrees in Texas and the ball's flying out of that ballpark, you wish you had them. But
okay.
Go ahead.
Well, we got to move on because we got to get to outfielders. Okay.
Yeah.
This is a fun one. We're going to come back to duds to studs, and we're also going to do some studs to duds, I think, at some point.
That'd be great too. And in the audience, if you guys want to nominate somebody for duds to studs, please put it in the comments. I'll be happy to comment about it.
And do you mind if we do a segment called Duds to Duds, and I'll put Ian Happ in it?
You son of a! I gotta get Ian Happ on the show just so you can
Oh my
apologize
God.
to him on
so
the
funny.
air.
I would be so sheepish because I'm actually
it'd be the best.
Nice.
And we would play back everything you said bad. It'd be like a minute montage of all the stuff you said about
it. Would be so horrible.
It'd be the best.
I'm sorry. I'd have to show a Hunter Dozier montage just to.
You'd be running. You'd be running out of your place so quickly, Dreadsman. So we're outfielders now.
Yep. Outfielders below 60%. I'm going to let you go first.
So I'm going to mention some. I like mentioning names we haven't talked about. I can always mention the obvious names. I get so bored of the same guys. So the first guy, I hope I say these names right, is Ref Schneider. Did I say it right?
Yep, that's right.
It's unbelievable. So he plays for Minnesota. He's starting because Buxton is hurt.
That's right.
Buxton is the center fielder. So is Ref Schneider. Ref Schneider has been destroying the ball. He's this young outfielder. He's hitting over 300. He's been hitting the ball really far, and they just brought him up. And he's been starting the past 10 games, and he's been doing great. And if you need an outfielder, I don't know how much longer he'll be starting, but if he keeps hitting like he is, I don't know what they do. They'll probably put him in right fielder. They'll figure it out. But this kid, for a streaker, pick him up for sure.
He's a good streaker. Now, I'm going to give you one that is not a streaker. This is a guy who could become a fixture in your lineup. We've talked about him before, so I know you don't like repeat names. But I also just watched Deadpool for the first time, so I got to bring up the guy who sounds like Ryan Reynolds, Brian Reynolds. This guy can seriously hit. 30 runs scored, 7 homers, 24 RBIs, and a 283 average in a third of a season. He's going to hit 21 homers at that pace, so he's not destroying everything, and he doesn't steal bases, but he is not going to hurt you in anything except maybe steals. And you can get away with that easily. He's 53% owned. I think he's a great pickup. Ross, back to you. Who do you got?
Ansel Garcia. In the month of May, he had 7 home runs.
Avisale
Garcia, Milwaukee Brewers. He has been hitting great. And May was a great month for him. April was horrible. I don't know what June's going to bring him, but if you need an outfielder that can bring you some average, but also bring you some pop, Garcia is your man. And I feel he'll have a good June also. Good pickup if you need an outfielder.
Yep, I'm also going to go with our Jewish bar mitzvah boy, Robbie Grossman. He's a name we've talked about before, but he does have 8 steals and 6 homers with decent runs and pretty solid runs, actually, and RBIs. His average isn't so great, but I think he is definitely worth owning. Anybody else that we need to mention? Ross, last call on outfielders.
Brad Miller plays a bunch of positions. He's a utility guy. He's been starting the past 9 games. He's hitting over 300. He has 3 home runs the past 9 games. He's been hitting the ball really well. He can play second base. He can play shortstop. He can play outfielder. There's a bunch of places you can place him if you need a utility guy. I always like to have one utility guy in my team just in case, but Brad Miller could be your guy.
All right. I'm going to mention also Pavin Smith is also an outfielder. And here's a guy we haven't mentioned, Jurickson Profar. He's got 9 steals. That could be really valuable. I mean, I'd probably play him at second base if I had to play him somewhere, but he's a guy who can get you good value.
And Profar, I don't know if you guys remember, he was in the Little League World Series, and I remember he was like the stud of the whole tournament when he was playing. I mean, he was like, I don't know what his age was when he was back then, but I don't want to say anything. But he was like this giant. But he won the World Series for his country. I think I want to say either Venezuela or Dominican. I can't remember. But I mean, he was a total stud in Little League. Unbelievable.
I mean, that's what happens when a 25-year-old plays with 14-year-olds. But I'm kidding. Okay, but I will say one other name, Manuel Margot in Tampa Bay.
Oh, I like Margot.
30
Yeah,
RBIs
I like that guy.
and 6 steals.
Well, no, I love him.
You could do a lot worse than him.
No, he's a Dominican too. He's great.
30% owned.
Yep.
Okay, let's move to starting pitching. Ross, I'm going to let you go first. I'm being very, very giving to you on this. Casey's not even here. So
I know you're a strikeout guy. You look exclusively at like innings pitched to strikeouts. You're that guy. I mean,
I have become that guy. Yes.
The number one thing you look at, I know about you, is you look at innings pitched compared to strikeouts. So tell me if this is good stuff. This is the past 2 weeks. 17 innings pitched, 21 strikeouts for a starter. What do you think?
Say the numbers again.
17.2 innings pitched, 21 strikeouts.
Okay, that's
ERA at 3.0, 2 wins.
Okay, now wait a minute. First of all, before we even say anything about pitchers, I owe you an apology because Tariq Skubal is a great pickup.
He is a great pickup. I accept your apology. And he beat the Yankees last week in Yankee Stadium. Yep. He swept the Yankees.
Nice job. If you listen to Ross the Boss, you did well. If you listen to me, you got good
He looked like Cy Young. But Robbie Ray, I brought his name up before. This guy's an inning burner. You like Robbie Ray. He's getting strikeouts. His ERA is like near 3 the past 2 weeks. He's a guy that you should pick up now. He's back to old form. He was unbelievable when he pitched for Arizona. I had him in my fantasy leagues, and he took off.
Yeah, listen,
Robbie Ray, for me, is a guy that you can depend on. If it's a league where you've got what innings matter, and a lot of leagues do, Robbie Ray's a guy you should pick up immediately.
Listen, not only that, but the other thing I look at, the next thing I look at is whip. I don't like to pick up a pitcher with a bad whip. Whip is good. He's got a 114 whip this year. For Robbie Ray, that's like good Robbie Ray. He's here.
Okay, who's your pitcher you like? Then I have a couple others.
There's a lot, but Casey Mize is another. Now, this breaks your trend a little bit. He's not actually a dominant strikeout pitcher. He has 57 innings and 47 strikeouts, but his strikeout rate has gone up. It's going up, and he's got great pedigree. I think that he is a great pickup. I think if anybody dropped Michael Kopech, who's pitching in middle relief, he is a beast. He's got a .99 whip. 99. Casey Scheinfeld shows up and says, "How is Hunter Dozier doing?" He is batting.
You're not even here.
40.
Should we talk about all the injuries your team has? We'll talk about that some other time. How about that?
Here's another good pickup. You asked about this in my Q&A. Sixto Sanchez. I think it's time to grab him. I think it's also time to grab Luis Severino.
Luis Severino.
He's on the way back. I don't know what to expect from him. I don't trust him that much.
There's no one Scheinfeld. I know you don't like him, but he's pitching in AAA right now. Chris Sale's to me.
I thought he got hurt again.
I believe he pitched. Maybe he got hurt during. I don't know, but I know he's going to do a rehab start. And Chris Sale, I know I have a bet with you. I don't think you have a 1 win this year in Major League Baseball. We'll see what happens.
For everybody who's listening, Noah Syndergaard has been shut down for the next 6 weeks. It's time to cut bait on him.
I will drop him today. Luis Garcia of the Houston Astros. Listen to this. I know you're a strikeout guy. 17 this is the past 2 weeks.
Yep.
17 innings, 30 Ks. 30 Ks, Dr. Dan. 3 wins.
La la.
3 wins. His ERA, 1.50. 1.50. He pitches tonight, too. We'll see what he does. But Luis Garcia, under 50%. I think he's under 40%. Casey Scheinfeld needs a pitcher. He has nobody. He won't even pick him up because he doesn't know what's going on. He's in Philadelphia, walking around the streets, having no idea what's going on in baseball, while you and I sit here, give him great information, and he doesn't even use it.
That's what the song of Streets of Philadelphia was about. It's about Casey not coming to the waiver wire.
But Luis Garcia, I mean, I just don't understand why he's not. Drop Blake Snell and pick up Luis Garcia. It's that easy. Drop Blake, pick up Garcia.
Now, Casey is asking, what about Davy Garcia, who I believe is a hitter he was on the Tigers.
What's he talking about? Davy Garcia? What? No.
What about? There's lots of.
So another.
What about
injury,
Jeff Garcia?
Jeff Garcia. No. So another update I want to give everybody is Tony Gosselin, the pitcher for the LA Dodgers.
Tony Gonzalez.
Tony Gosselin. He's coming back next week. He'll be in the rotation for the Dodgers. He hasn't pitched all year. He is one of these young Dodger pitchers that they have high expectations for. He pitched the past couple of years. He looks like Joe Dirt. He has the little goatee, and he looks like Joe Dirt. I mean, his hair is like Joe Dirt's. Is the hair facial of Joe Dirt. So I just call him Joe Dirt. Tony Gosselin is Joe Dirt.
Yep.
So Gosselin's coming back. He'll be like a 2 or 3 pitch. He'll be like a 2 or 3 guy he can't even be a 2 or 3 guy for the Dodgers because the Dodgers are so stacked. He'll be a 5 pitcher for the Dodgers. That's how good the Dodgers are. It's unbelievable.
Oh, listen, now Casey's saying Davy Garcia is a Yankees prospect pitcher. I'm not.
Yeah, but no one cares about the Yankees pitch. The Yankees were swept by the Tigers.
All right, listen, here's a pitcher that you do want to pick up is Adbert Alzolay. Adbert Alzolay of the Chicago Cubs. This guy is having a great year. He's got a .93 whip, 49 innings pitched, 51 strikeouts, totally solid there. He's getting some wins. I think he is a good pickup. I would watch carefully though, because if he shows signs of regression, I don't know how much I trust him. But that's a good place to start. Meanwhile, I don't know if you remember this, but someone in the comments once told me that I looked like Tony Gonzalez, and now that you say that he looks like Joe Dirt, I'm retroactively offended by that comment.
No, you don't have the hair. You don't have the. I know. He has like a mullet. This guy. I mean, you got to see a picture of this guy.
I know. Listen, and by the way, for those of you out there, if you haven't seen Joe Dirt is worth watching 8 minutes of it because 8 minutes of it is so funny, and it's all with Christopher Walken. Just find the scenes with Christopher Walken. Only watch that. Okay, let's go to relief pitchers, the dreaded relief pitchers. I've got some names, but Ross,
I got some names. You got some names.
I'm gonna let you go first, just for the one, and then I'm gonna name one.
JP Veresian. Is that I say it right? It's Armenian.
Yeah.
2 saves. He pitches
Fire-Eisen.
He pitches for Tampa Bay. Pitches for Tampa Bay, and he is in the past week. He has 2 saves. I don't know what's going on with Castillo in Tampa Bay. I have no idea. I don't know if this guy's the save guy now and Castillo's not. I don't know if they're switching back and forth, but JP's a good pickup just in case if this guy's the main save guy. They brought this kid up. I have no idea what they're doing with them. I can't say, but
the Tampa Bay bullpen, it's like when in fantasy football when you're trying to figure out what Mike Shanahan was doing with running backs in the Broncos. It was like
Belichick too. Yeah. I mean, they kill you. So JP for me, it's just a new name, and he had 2 saves last week, and he's pitching great. His ERA is like 0. So I would suggest you pick him up.
He's also got a name that would sound good if Hans and Franz said it.
There you go.
JP Fire-Eisen.
So who's your relief guy? I'm listening.
Okay, my relief guy, I would say pick up Jordan Romero. He's 58% owned. He's getting the saves. He's got 26 strikeouts and 19 innings pitched. This is your last chance to get him, 60% and below because he's going to go up. I always thought he was getting that job back. Rafael Dolis was never that good of a pitcher.
Oh, he's horrible. Ooh.
And Merriweather has been injured. He hasn't even been that good of a pitcher either. So Romano is the one. Did I say Romero? It's Jordan Romano, if I said it wrong.
Romano. Let's call the old thing off.
Yes. I also think Taylor Rogers he's under 60% owned. I don't really know why.
I don't know what's going on there either. I have no idea what's going on.
Scoop them both up. Get Hansel Robles and Taylor Rogers.
Yeah, there you go.
That's what I did.
Yeah.
Then you've got the closer. Anyone else that we should mention?
The other one this guy has not given up a run in 3 weeks, and we talked about him last time. I said in 2 weeks he has to give up a run, and all he does is get saves in Colorado. And you even say this: the only pitcher I would pick up in Colorado is Daniel Bard.
Yes,
Bard is pitching unbelievable. They bring him in even with non-safe situations, and he's 0.0 ERA the past 3 weeks. I know his ERA. If you look at his ERA, I know it's high. He had a horrible April, but this guy is back. He's the closer. He's not going to lose his job in the next couple months. If you need to get saves, and he's under 50%, I think he's under 40%. I would pick him up now.
He's 33% owned. Another 33% owned guy, and I think we'll finish on this, is Greg Holland. I don't know how much you trust him, but I think you can pick this guy up, and he could run away with the job. He's been a closer before. He's got decent stuff. I'm not saying you're going to win that, and Kansas City's bullpen is being used in crazy ways, so who knows what's going to happen. But if you want a streaker as a closer, that's pretty hard to
find. Does Quisenberry still pitch there? No, Quisenberry still pitches.
Yeah, no, he started pitching like below underhand. It's like He was
I got it. Okay.
from the other side now.
Horrible. I shouldn't even brought his name up. He's deceased.
I miss the days of Quisenberry. I'm glad you brought him up.
I love Q.
I'm going to mention one other guy, actually, and because it's a type of guy you should think about adding, and that's the guys that are behind the closers that are going to get traded. Kyle Crick on the Pittsburgh Pirates, Richard Rodriguez is going to get dealt. It's definitely going to happen. I own Richard Rodriguez. I picked up Kyle Crick because of that.
I say Rodriguez gets dealt I say during All-Star break he gets dealt. What do you say?
I think so. And what I will do is I'll hold on to him for another couple weeks to get enough value, and then I'm going to trade him.
To Casey Scheinfeld.
Well, I'm certainly not going to trade him to you because you know my strategy, and Casey's watching. By the way, shout out to Casey Scheinfeld. Even though he couldn't make it, he did show up and put some questions in. And I appreciate you,
They were lame questions, but I guess you want to call those questions.
I love that you're bringing it to him because when he comes back on, he can fight with you. No.
We're Casey and I
we love each other, but we went to school together.
Casey.
We went to school together when you were his middle school teacher.
Yes, I was Tim Anderson. Yes.
Tim Anderson, the economics professor. Listen, guys, it has been great doing this with you. We hope we brought you great information. Actually, we know we brought you great information. Use it. If you haven't already.
This show is, we have unbelievable helpfulness for you this week. So use it.
We covered everything. If we do say so ourselves. If you haven't already, click subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, hit like if you like what you're hearing, and put your comments below, and we will be happy to spar with you or maybe even agree with you depending on what you're saying. But if you tell us that Juan Soto is a top 5 outfielder, I'm going to tell you were wrong. Thank you for watching, everybody.
Everyone is happy with the new flavor of Killcliff CBD Strawberry Days. It's clean energy. Makes your days more pleasurable by infusing strawberries right into your drink hole. Look at Sally. Her drink hole is happy. Way to go, Sally. Get the world of tomorrow today at killcliff.com. The biggest no-brainer in the history of drinks.